to you about my recent hunt on the 24th of November, this past Saturday. I just wanted to break it down on how it all unfolded. First, I want to start off with the weather. As you guys know, in Georgia, we've been having a lot of rain, and I don't hunt in the rain, even if it's a pop-up blind. I just don't hunt in the rain. But I always try to figure out when the rain is going to quit, and I also correlate it with high moon and barometric pressure and temperature. So Saturday, I watched the forecast, and it was saying it was going to be raining in the morning, and then it was going to get, should I say, dwindle down around about 11 o'clock, and then 1:30, 2 o'clock, it just was going to completely stop. So I knew it was going to be a good day to get in the woods because, first of all, I knew it was cold. So that would have been a perfect time to get in the woods to try to intercept a buck. Because a lot of times deer will still cruise in the rain. They won't move much, but they will move to prevent from getting really cold. But I just took advantage of the situation when it stopped raining. And like I said, we had a high pressure, we had a high moon, and it was cold. So what I did, I hunted a doe bedding area. Before, on the 10th of November, I hunted this very same buck with at a pinch point, and I used the same tactic that I used at the doe bedding area. I put a dripper. No, I didn't put a dripper up at the pinch point. I'm sorry. I used a wick. I just hung a wick over top the scrape, and I saturated with my intruder alert and estrus, and that worked really well. The same buck came in, like I said, back on the 10th, and he gave me a 23-yard shot. And as I mentioned to you guys before, I made a bad hit because with my triax bow, I actually shot too high because my kisser button had dropped. So that caused me to elevate my my anchor point and raise my pin to look dead center through the peep sight and match the pin with the peep. And that caused me to shoot like 4 inches high. So I hit that no man's land, and I really messed up. But on my Vertix, I got in the woods and it all came together. It was incredible. But getting back to my setup, like I said, I hunted about 40 yards next to a doe bedding area, and during the rut, that's real critical for me because I don't hunt bucks during the rut. I hunt the does because when you hunt does, the bucks are gonna show up sooner or later. So I don't get right inside that bedding area. I get like 40 yards, 30 yards away from it, and then I just pick a funnel or pick a nice trail that's coming off of a creek bottom or an escape route, situation like that. But in this situation here, I place my stand in a funnel, and a lot of deer, or should I say a lot of mature bucks, they're going to use a funnel. They're going to use a creek bottom, they're going to use a pinch point, some kind of cut over, but any type of cover that can hide them to get from point A to point B, that's exactly what they're going to do. I don't never try to get out in the opening when I'm hunting big bucks, because most likely they're always going to try to find some type of cover to break them up, break up their silhouette from getting to where they got to go. And that's one reason why I thank God I've been so successful over the years. I learned how to figure out what terrain they like, what paths they like to take, what trails they like to take, and so on. So getting back to my hunt, like I said, I picked that funnel, and that funnel, what it was just a hardwood. It was a hardwood funnel, and the hardwood funnel, it still had acorns on the ground, believe it or not. But the deer, bucks this time of year, they don't like eating a whole lot. They will eat when they need to, but for the most part, they do a lot of running. They do a lot of walking. They do a lot of chasing. Their nose is on the ground most of the time, and that's why when you harvest a buck during late season, that's why a lot of times they lose weight, because that's all they've been pretty much doing is trying to breed breed those does before they go out. So by getting back to this the funnel here, like I said, this funnel, you had a creek bottom on the back side of the funnel, and you had a CRP field in the front of the funnel, and then you had the bedding area to your matter of fact, I was facing like this, and the bedding area was to my right, and then the creek bottom was on the back side, and the CRP was behind me. So the deer, most likely they're gonna come across that funnel or come across the creek bottom, or sometime they'll skirt the edge of that CRP field to check for does. So that's why it's really good to have a scrape. I'm sorry, not a scrape. That's why it's good to have a drag rag where you can drag from when you get like a few hundred yards from your truck or 100 yards from your truck. Start a drag rag right on the edge of the CRP field, right on the edge of it. Mainly when you see trails going into the bedding area from the field, from the CRP field, drop yourself a drag right there, because a lot of times the deer, when they go into that, they're gonna put the nose down right at the edge of that woods and check to see if a deer had walked in there. So that's the perfect place to start a drag rag, is right there where you see a trail going into the bedding area. But like I said, that was a really cool tactic there. But really, what really worked for me was my scents. As when I placed those scents up on in my drag, I used my intruder alert and my dragon estrus in a dripper, and that buck, believe it or not, he came back 14 days later, and just I was amazed, because I had never wounded a buck, and for him to come back that soon during the season, and it was just meant for me to get this deer. Although I had this deer on camera back in July, and to get you to check him out right now. I had this deer back in July, and I liked the way his rack looked, and this is the end result right here. And the reason why I did a photo like that is because the hypodermics, they just was like, oh, it just tore his hide up, and I mean, it made a gash like at least 8 inches. Because I mean, when I was shooting down, I got right in that crease, and then it came out like right here, but the gash was like, it was bad. And it was so bad, I don't even think the taxidermy could have, he probably could have, but I don't think he could have really fixed that for where you didn't think, you actually cut it right there. But it's possible, because I guess taxidermists they can do their thing. But like I said, my scent dripper, I really love that tactic, hunting next to a doe bedding area during the rut, because even during the pre-rut, but mainly during the rut, the peak of the rut and the post-rut is the best time I like hunting near doe bedding areas, because for the most part, during the pre-rut, doe, she's gonna be still feeding, and the bucks, they might be trying to bump them a little bit, but they're not the does aren't as skittish, because the bucks their testosterone hasn't reached the peak yet. And when a buck's testosterone reached their peak, they really bump does and get on does nerves, and does get to blowing at them and stomping at them and snorting at them and all kinds of things, because they're not in estrus sometimes, and the bucks are really just getting on their nerves. So and that's why I like to hunt the doe bedding areas during the rut, is because you're gonna find some of those does in that bedding area, and sometimes you're gonna find the bucks in the bedding area not too far away from them, and sometimes laying right down next to them, just walking with them, waiting for them to come into estrus, because does go into estrus like every 28 days. But the first mature does of the season, some of them, I ain't gonna say all of them, but some of them get bred during the false rut, and they call that the false rut. That's the pre-rut. It's around October 28th in that area, where they go into estrus for like a 24-hour cycle, and then they go out, and then during the peak they come back into estrus again. But like I said, every 28 days, if a doe hasn't been bred, she'll go back into estrus until she gets bred. So that's why I encourage guys, don't shoot all of the does, because I hear so many guys, man, I never shot a buck. Like, but you always posting a whole lot of does. And I understand sometimes you got to harvest some does for the meat. I understand that. But try not to shoot the does after the pre-rut, because that doe might be pregnant. That's just me. I don't shoot does, and I definitely wouldn't shoot no does during the rut, because not only she's going to be a live decoy, she could be carrying twins. She could be carrying a 200-inch buck in her belly. So that's why, that's not the reason why I shoot does. I just don't. But like I said, my tactic, I chose high barometric pressure, high moon, cold temperature. I hunt doe bedding area, and I hunted a funnel. And I knew if I hunted that dripper, I knew it was a possibility that a buck would show up. But let me add this. I forgot to add this. There was a spike buck in that area. He went on, he busted into the funnel, and he flushed out 3 does. And that was perfect for me, because my dragon estrus, I'm sorry, my intruder alert has dragon estrus in it, and it has young buck urine. So that was perfect for me, for that buck, that young buck. It was a 1-year-old spike. He was just running those does all around me, back and forth into the bedding area, back out underneath of me, just over and over again. So I'm thinking, okay, they get the does and the buck got the scent inside of their hooves, like an interdigital gland inside their hooves, where they release scent on the ground. So I was like, okay, this is perfect. And I was assuming that another buck could hear them run. Even that young buck was grunting. And I'm thinking, okay, this is perfect. So it wasn't 15 minutes later that jackhammer, I called him jackhammer, he showed up and ended up giving me a 23-yard shot. I drew the bow back, and when I drew the bow back, he was actually walking away from me. Then he turned to the left, and then he stopped. And when he finally stopped, it was a thin layer of brush between me and him, but I could still see his full body. I could see every spot where I wanted to place the pin. So he was at 21 yards. I anchored him and settled in, put the pin on him, and hit the release. All I heard from that Matthews Vertix was when I hit the release. I just heard the release, and I heard the raised hypodermic. I heard, you know how it clicks when it goes in. I just heard that sound of that blade opening up. I never even heard the bow shoot. Believe it or not. Believe it or not, I never even heard the bow shoot. I mean, it was a real faint sound of that bow when I shot it. I was like, wow, I was so impressed. And the only reason why I know that bow was real quiet, because wherever I put that pin and I hit that release, that deer never even dropped, because that arrow hit exactly where I put that pin. And I have never had an arrow do that. Every time I would hit that release, that deer would drop at least 3 to 6 inches. I mean, at least 3 inches. He was, you know, that's where the arrow would hit, 3 inches higher, because he dropped. But I was shocked, because when I put it right there at that crease and hit that release, it hit exactly where I put that pin. And I thought I missed the deer. And I got down. When I got down, the arrow was just about clean. Didn't have hardly any blood on it or anything. And I'm thinking, I missed that deer. That's what I'm thinking. So I was like, I wounded him again. I'm thinking I wounded him 2 times. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to get down and just tuck my head between my legs and go home. So I got down and got the arrow. And I started taking a step towards where he was walking. Then I seen evidence, and then I kept seeing more and more evidence. And it was just incredible. Let me tell you, this Vertix, I'm overly impressed with it, because like I said, the grip This grip, I like how it actually has like a little contour at the bottom, and also it's really not that wide, but it has a little grip to it, to the back of it. Right in this area here, that's where it's like rubbery. Well, it's rubbery all the way around, but it's really has like a little tacky area right here. And like I said, the QAD Ultra Rest, when it comes down, it stops. It just stops right before it hit the riser. And when I shot this bow, I barely heard the bow go off. I mean, you're gonna get some sound, but I have never shot a bow this quiet. And for the speed and the back wall, the 6-inch brace height, and the wide limb pockets, because when you're at, like I said, when you're at full draw, you have a lot of arm clearance. And also, like I said, I like the enhanced stabilizer system here on front, just like the Triax. It's really cool. But by this bow being 30 inches axle to axle, I don't float as much with this bow than I did with my other bow, my Triax. And don't get me wrong, the Triax is a good bow, but it don't have nothing on this Vertix. That's just my opinion, because first of all, you can make a minor mistake with this Vertix and still hit within the vicinity. But me, I'm talking about myself. When I was shooting that Triax, I'm up, down, left, right. If I change something, I change my grip just a little bit, or I change my anchor point just a hair, because I was kind of moving all around with my anchor point when I was dealing with that kisser button. But on this Vertix, I didn't put a kisser button on here, because my first 20 years of bow hunting, I didn't use a kisser button. And I decided to try it because of low light condition. But still, when I'm at full draw, as long as I have illuminated pin, I can actually find the center of my my peep sight and still be as accurate, even more accurate than with the kisser button, because I'm finding the center of my peep with the illuminated pin during low light. But like I said, this bow here, I'm very, very impressed with this bow. This is the best bow I've ever owned. I mean, I've owned some really good bows out there, like the Bear Carnage back in the day. That was a sweet, sweet bow, the Bear Carnage. And to me, the Bear Carnage, the Halon 6, and the Vertix are my best 3 bows out of probably about 25 bows over the years that I purchased. And like I said, this buck here is very special to me, because from my blooper that I made, I was able to make it right, go back and do the right thing and harvest him, because he ended up having a piece of shaft still left just underneath of his spine, about 6 inches long. And when I dressed him out, we found it, and I was like, wow. So God really shined on me about that. So I'm gonna go ahead and take me a shot with this bow here. Like I said, I love this bow. The grip is amazing. The overall finish, like I said, you can't beat Matthews' finish, because I've never had a black bow from Matthews that peeled. I mean, a couple other manufacturers that I've had bows with, the bows peeled. I mean, the finish stopped peeling. But this bow here, and all of the black bows I've had from Matthews, never peeled. But like I said, getting back to the a couple of more things I wanted to add. This switch weight technology, it jumps, I think, from 60 to 75 pounds. You can just change these modules, and it'll change the weight, and it also changes the let off. So that's really cool, how you can change the weight and the let off without even adjusting your screws on your limbs. So that's really cool. But I'm gonna go ahead and take a couple of shots, and I'm gonna get out of here. Again, this is another cold day. But like I said, I just wanted to share with you guys on how my last hunt unfolded. Like I said, I hunted a funnel, and I hunted a funnel that was in Jason. It was a hardwood funnel that was in Jason with a double bedding area to my right, and I had a dripper in place for like 3 weeks anyway. But one thing I love about putting my dripper in place, I add a wick to my dripper, and it just constantly saturates that wick, and it's just symbolizing that there's a doe in the area, and no matter what time of day a buck come through there or night, he's gonna assume that it's a doe in that bedding area, and he may go into that bedding area even if he don't find her. He'll go into that bedding area and he'll lay down and he'll wait on her. And I've had a buck bust me several times early in the morning when I'm going to the stand, because he's assuming that it's a buck in the area, I mean a doe in the area. So he'll come back over and over again looking for her. So perfect tactic for me. Like I said, you guys can try it. You know, that's why I share the stuff that I share. You can try it. If it don't work for you, hey, try something else. Teach me something. Teach me some things I don't know, because I'm not the best bow hunter in the world. I just get out there and have fun just like the next band. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and take me a couple of shots and I'm going to get out of here. You guys, I hope y'all had a safe trip. I mean, safe trip. Hope you guys had a safe hunt. And also, all of you guys that harvest not only mature bucks, but harvest spikes, 3-pointers, whatever. Congratulations. All right, let me go ahead and take a couple of shots. Yeah, once again, I was using these Maxima Red 350 Badlands with the raised chisel tip, and this arrow here is 400 grains. Like I said, I took the same exact arrow to Africa, and it did its thing. But I'm gonna go ahead and take a couple of shots and just let you guys listen to how quiet this bow is. I always seem to pick the coldest days to try to do a video. I love this Ultra Rest. It's the Integrate Ultra Rest, and like I said, it actually clamps to the dovetail on this riser. It's really sweet. So let me go ahead and let's see. I'm gonna make sure you get everything. Let me go ahead and just take a couple of shots. I like to pull the bow back slow just to kind of get used to it. I mean, this grip is amazing. Back wall's amazing. I could sit here and hold this bow for a long time. Super quiet. I'm gonna take one more shot and I'm gonna get out of here. But I had my bow set on at 70 pounds and 29 inches. This Integrate Ultra Rest is really slick. I really like it. You take one more shot, then I'm out. I love this grip. Sweet. This bow is sweet. Sweeter than my sweet potato pie that I bake. Alright, Iceman signing out. I hope you guys, like I said, continue to have a safe season. And don't be afraid to use them scents, because during the post rut in Georgia, which is coming up around about December the 8th through the 10th, and a little bit longer than that. So use them drag rags, scent wicks, drippers, wicks, whatever you got to do, and bring them bucks in. But hunt the doe bedding areas. I guarantee you, you'll be successful. Iceman signing out. Go to www.theicemanseries.com and order a product, or go to the Army Navy store in Stockbridge. Those guys are really awesome. Ask for Nathan, Bob, or Daniel. Take care. God bless.